Bella was a beautiful girl with a sharp mind. She was very beautiful from a young age and was exceptionally bright and intelligent. She went to one of the top schools in town, a place where most of the students came from wealthy families. In this school only those who could afford it came. Bella herself looked like a model, with a figure that many people noticed, especially the boys. But Bella didn't have much time to pay attention to all that. Her father, Mr. Collins, was a math genius. He was so good that he even won a big national competition in Nigeria. Bella and her older brother, Samuel, were proud of him. However, their mother, a very beautiful woman who loved her family deeply, had passed away when they were both still very young. Since then, their father chose not to remarry. Instead, he focused all his energy on making sure Bella and Samuel got the best education possible. But Mr. Collins was very strict, especially when it came to their grades. He believed that because he was smart, his children should also be. From a young age, Bella and Samuel were expected to bring home nothing but straight A's. Anything less, and there would be consequences. This put a lot of pressure on Bella. Her father made it clear that only excellence was allowed in his house, and he wasn't afraid to show his disappointment if his children didn't meet his high standards. Sometimes, he would even punish them if their grades weren't perfect. Because of this, Bella didn't have many friends. She spent most of her time alone, usually in the school library. Even though boys would try to get her attention, she didn't pay much attention to them. She knew her father wouldn't be happy if she got distracted from her studies. But as Bella moved up to senior secondary school, things started to get harder. She was finding it difficult to understand further mathematics, no matter how hard she studied. She would sit in the library, reading and rereading her notes, but nothing seemed to make sense. This worried her a lot. She had never struggled with any subject before, and the thought of failing scared her. One evening, Bella was sitting quietly in her room, looking worried. Samuel, her older brother, noticed her sad expression and decided to check on her. He knocked on her door and walked in. "Bella, is everything okay?" Samuel asked, sitting down beside her. Bella sighed. "No, Sam, I'm really struggling with further math. I've tried studying by myself, but I still don't understand anything," she admitted, her voice full of worry. Samuel looked concerned. "That's serious, Bella. You know how Dad gets if we don't do well. He'll be really upset if you don't bring back good grades." Bella nodded, biting her lip nervously. "I know. But no matter how hard I try, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know what to do." Samuel thought for a moment. He could see how worried his sister was. "Look, you have to figure it out before the exams come around," he advised. "If you don't, Dad won't be happy, and you know how he can get." Bella looked down, afraid of disappointing their father. She remembered the time Samuel came home with a grade he wasn't proud of. Their father had been furious, and he punished Samuel severely. In fact, Samuel still had a small scar from that day. She shuddered at the thought of going through the same thing. The next day at school, Bella was putting some books away in her locker when a boy approached her. He was good-looking, though not in an extraordinary way, and he seemed friendly enough. He smiled as he greeted her casually. "Hey, Bella," he said, leaning against the lockers. "I'm throwing a party this weekend, and I'd love for you to come." Bella gave him a polite smile. "Oh, thank you for the invitation, but I don't think I'll be able to make it. I'll be busy with schoolwork and other things." The boy chuckled and shook his head. No, don't worry. This party is approved by the principal. It's just a little school gathering, nothing wild," he said, trying to convince her. But Bella simply shook her head again, still smiling politely. "Thanks again, but I really have a lot to do. Maybe another time." The boy looked a bit disappointed but nodded. "All right, maybe next time then," he said, and with that, he walked away. Later, during the lunch break, Bella was sitting alone at her table in the cafeteria, her mind heavy with thoughts about her struggles in further mathematics. Her friend Sonia noticed Bella's distant look and came over, sitting across from her. "Bella, what's wrong?" Sonia asked, looking concerned. "You've been quiet lately. Are you okay?" Bella hesitated, then sighed. "It's further math. No matter how hard I try, I just can't understand it," she admitted, frustration clear in her voice. Sonia looked surprised. "Further math? Bella, why are you worrying about that? You're gorgeous. If I were as beautiful as you, I wouldn't even bother worrying about school," she said with a laugh. Bella managed a small smile, but Sonia continued, "Seriously, if I were you, I'd just relax. Mr. Henry is the further math teacher, right? Everyone knows he likes pretty girls. I don't know why you're bothering yourself studying." Bella raised an eyebrow, unsure of where Sonia was going with this. "What do you mean?" Sonia leaned in and lowered her voice. "Look, all you have to do is be friendly with him. Flirt a little and maybe a little foreplay. He'll give you an A, no problem." Bella was taken aback. She couldn't believe Sonia would suggest something like that. But she didn't want to upset her friend, so she nodded slightly, pretending to consider the idea. "Maybe. I'll think about it," she replied quietly. Sonia grinned, satisfied with Bella's response. "Good. Just don't stress yourself, okay? I hate seeing you so down." With that, Sonia gave her a quick hug and left. Bella sat there, feeling more confused than ever. That evening, Bella sat in her room, deep in thought. Sonia's words kept echoing in her mind. Should I really try to get Mr. Henry's favor just to pass? She wondered, feeling troubled. Bella knew that her grades were incredibly important, not only to her future but to her father, who expected nothing less than perfection. But something inside her told her that Sonia's plan wasn't the right path. No, she thought firmly. There has to be another way. As the thought settled, Bella decided to try a different approach. Maybe if she explained her struggles to her father, he would understand and help her find a solution. She knew it would be a difficult conversation, but she didn't want to disappoint him, or herself. With a determined heart, Bella went downstairs to her father's study, where he often worked late into the night. She knocked gently on the door. "Come in," her father's voice called out. Bella entered and saw her father, Mr. Collins, sitting behind his large wooden desk, surrounded by books and papers. He looked up from his work, raising an eyebrow. "Good evening, Daddy," Bella greeted softly. "Good evening, Bella. What is it? Shouldn't you be studying?" he asked, glancing back down at his papers. Bella took a deep breath, her hands nervously twisting together. She had practiced what she would say, but now that she was here, her words came out in a stammer. "Actually, Daddy, I wanted to talk to you about something important. I've been having some trouble in further math." Her father's face instantly hardened. "What do you mean, trouble?" he asked, his tone growing cold. Bella swallowed, feeling a wave of anxiety wash over her. "I understand most of the subjects, but further math. I just need some extra help with a few topics." "Maybe a tutor could," Mr. Collins interrupted, his voice rising. "A tutor? You're telling me that with all the money I pay for that school, you still need extra help?" He shook his head angrily. "When I was your age, I didn't have any tutors. I studied on my own and became the top student. But you. It seems you'd rather waste time than focus on your studies." Bella's heart sank as she tried to explain. "No, Daddy, it's not like that. I'm really trying, but some parts are just very hard to understand on my own." He looked at her with an accusing glare. "Don't give me excuses. Is it because you're busy running around with boys? Showing off instead of studying. I see how you act, thinking your looks are all that matter. His words were sharp, and each one felt like a sting. Bella felt tears pricking her eyes. Daddy, please, that's not true. I don't spend time with boys. I just need a little help. But before she could finish, Mr. Collins's face twisted with anger. Without warning, he raised his hand and slapped her hard across the face. Bella gasped, feeling the sting of his slap. Her cheek throbbed, and she took a step back, shocked and hurt. Get out of my study, he said coldly. If you're not capable of handling your own studies, then don't bother me with your foolishness. Choking back tears, Bella nodded and quietly left the room. She returned to her own room, her face still stinging and her heart feeling heavy. She had tried her best, but it seemed that nothing would ever be enough for her father. As she lay down, Bella felt more alone than ever, wondering how she would ever get through this on her own. At school the next day, Bella felt lost and troubled. She tried to focus on her books, but her mind kept drifting back to the conversation with her father and the pressure he had put on her. She felt as though the weight of the world was on her shoulders. Sitting at her desk, Bella barely noticed when her friend Sonia came over and sat beside her. Bella, you don't look okay. What's going on? Sonia asked, her brow furrowed with concern. Bella sighed and glanced around, making sure no one else was listening. I'm not fine, Sonia. I talked to my dad about my struggles in further math, but he just got mad. He thinks I'm not focused or that I'm distracted by boys. Sonia's expression softened. Oh, Bella. I'm sorry. I didn't think he'd react like that. Bella managed a weak smile. It's okay. I don't know what to do anymore. I need good grades, but I feel like I'm running out of options. Sonia placed a comforting hand on Bella's arm. Listen, Bella, I told you before, Mr. Henry could help. He likes you, and I'm sure he'd be willing to give you the grade you need if you meet him privately. I could even help you talk to him. Bella hesitated, but before she could respond, the bell rang, signaling the start of their next class. When Mr. Henry walked in, Bella felt her heart start to race. She barely looked up as he taught. Too overwhelmed to focus. Halfway through the lesson, she felt a tap on her desk. She looked down and saw a folded piece of paper, a note from Mr. Henry. Curious, she opened it. It was an address. Bella immediately understood what it meant. He wanted her to meet him there. After class, Sonia nudged her. So, are you going? Bella looked uncertain. I don't know. I'm a bit worried, Sonia. Sonia gave her a reassuring smile. Don't worry. It'll be fine. Just go. If you don't want to do anything serious, you don't have to. Maybe a little flirting is all he needs to help you out. I mean, you won't get pregnant from just talking to him, right? She gave Bella a playful nudge. Besides, if it goes further, you can use protection. Just think about the grades you'll get. As the day of the meeting arrived, Bella felt a mix of nervousness and determination. Sonia had helped her pick out a stylish, eye-catching outfit, something that made Bella look a bit more grown-up. Bella had her doubts, but she felt trapped, like this was the only way to succeed, to live up to her father's impossible standards. Getting into the hotel, Bella felt her heart pounding. She took a deep breath and reminded herself why she was there, to secure her grades, her future, and, hopefully, her father's approval. Inside, she waited, feeling more uncertain with each passing minute. She kept looking around, wondering if this was a huge mistake.